Any additions or changes? No? Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve?
Second?
It's been moved and second. All for it, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. So not for me, but it's approved. Approval of the minutes from the March 20th, 2019 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from that meeting? Did anybody need to make any changes or that on that?
Nope. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 20th's meeting.
Okay, dude.
Second.
It's been motion for and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, they are approved. The first item is under new business, would be the Gaga Ball Court Eagle Scout project.
Audra?
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. Tonight we have Justin Kuchenmeyer here. He's a freshman at North High School, and he is working on an Eagle Scout project, and he is coming to talk to you about potentially putting a Gaga pit court, whatever you want to call it. He'll tell you more about it in one of our parks, so he's here to talk to you about it. So I'll turn it over to Justin.
Hello, I'm Justin Kuchenmeister. I'm a ninth grader at North St. Paul High School, and I'm a part of Boy Scout Troop 9515. When you become an Eagle Scout, you have to present an Eagle Scout project and complete it. And I have a presentation that I would like to give about my Eagles project that I would like to do for the city of Maplewood.
If we could have the computer, thank you.
What is a Gaga ball pit? A Gaga ball pit is a pen that is shaped like an octagon or hexagon that you play the game Gaga ball in. What is Gaga ball? Gaga ball is a dodgeball-like game that is played with a single ball inside of a Gaga ball pit. The players hit the ball and attempt to get the others out by hitting their legs. The objective is to be the last person standing. Representation of what Gaga ball is.
And I'm going to load that video up in just a second. Yeah, let's see if we can. What's the sound? All right. Try it again. If I can have the computer. Well, Justin, do you want to just come back to the video? We can continue presentation, and if we can get that at the end. If it's not, it's not. Play up there. Closed it, and there are a million things on this desktop, so hang on 1 second. Here we go. You might be actually able to come out now and see the video. Just trying to get this video to play on the screen that I had it here, but. Okay.
looks fun. It looks cool. It's a great idea. It doesn't look like it would take up too much space, really. It would be that expensive, yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. It's worth the wait. Let's start her over. Ready? Slide her along. Thank you. There you go.
Few groups that would benefit from this. Kids of all ages will be able to participate. There is no skill requirement because it's pretty much all fair. The only thing that is required is a ball of some sort, and the pit will be available to use at all times. And the parks will attract more people of all ages, and the pit will require little to no maintenance at all. And you can see in the picture, they're playing it in the winter, which would be amazing because there's not many things to do in the winter besides sledding, but they could go out and play gaga ball if it's not too terribly cold. Comments?
Questions or comments? Yeah, great.
So it looks like in the pictures that you have, there's many different kinds of surfaces. I mean, does it need to be a hard surface, or what are you recommending for a surface? Let's put it that way.
Putting it outside on the ground, just somewhere in an open area, a flat area. That way it won't be, if it'll be down on a low slope, there might be water that drains into it. But just any flat surface on the ground, or that would be fine.
So grass, or?
Yes, sorry, grass.
And I have a question. What part of this Gaga pit are you building it, or are you presenting it to the parks as far as your Eagle Scout project?
A whole thing with a group of volunteers, and I will fundraise the funds needed to build it, and I'll build it myself.
Nice, thank you.
I have a question. I sort of have the idea on this that it could be taken apart and moved. Could it be moved to other locations?
Yes, there are different kinds you can get that are able to be easily detachable and moved to 6 pieces, or you can get a stationary.
Okay. And would that be just like a dirt underground, or would there need to be a rubberized surface or something for protection on that?
There would just be dirt underneath it, or wood chips if the city would like.
Wood. Okay. And what kind of ball do you use?
You can use any kind of ball that's available. Playground ball would work best, soccer ball.
So whoever's playing can bring their own ball with them? Okay, good. Any other questions?
I had a question.
Sure, Nikki.
It says that you can do it with an octagon or a hexagon. Is that so you can have more players, or does it really matter? Or?
That is exactly what it's. An octagon would be bigger, so depending on what the city would like, you can build an octagon which would have more players, depending on who or business is.
Oh, and then I had another question, Chair.
Sure.
And then is there any possibility to make some sort of like door that you could open and shut to allow, if you wouldn't be able to jump over the side?
Yes, you can make a door, or you can take one of the sides and cut it down, so there'll be a dip in one side.
Okay,
Of younger ages.
cool. Thanks.
I have another question. Is this something that is a manufacturer makes already pre-assembled? Or is it something that would have to be made by scratch?
Well, the wood I will have to buy, but I'll buy the pieces, the brackets. That'll be the corner pieces. I'll buy those and nuts and bolts and assemble it myself.
Oh, so it's from scratch then?
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at the pictures, the tricky parts are the corners.
Yeah, I saw
And you
those
can see
corners.
the braces that he's saying that he's going to purchase. So, at that point, you really just assemble wood between those braces, right?
Yes.
One more. Today is my first time hearing of Gaga Ball. Are there any other Gaga pits anywhere in the cities that you know of?
I don't know exactly where, but I know many schools have them. My middle school had one of the immovable ones where you could take apart. Otherwise, schools can just play them in their gyms. But if I would like to put it in a park because there's not really anywhere you can else do that.
I have a question. What size are you looking at doing? You said it could be either an octagon or hexagon. Do you have a size that you're looking at making it?
I'm looking at a hexagon, but depending on what park maintenance would like, depending on how many people visit the park, I can change to an octagon.
What type of fundraising will you do then to raise money?
I haven't yet figured that out.
Question for staff. Do you have any ideas what park you might put this in?
Chair, members of the commission, with the 36 parks that we have in Maplewood, we've got lots of choices, so it would kind of, probably a park that's a little bit smaller and light on the amenities that we have, that has a good deal of open space and a flat area, so that it would be conducive to a Gaga pit, and just kind of go, and that would be something that we'd explore with Justin and park maintenance and just talk about getting the right fit. And when that was decided, we could maybe have him come back and give an update to the commission and talk about what the next steps are.
Sounds good. Any other questions?
What's your timeline, or what are you thinking of, if we say this is something we'd like to pursue, I guess what's your...
I would like to do the project this summer.
Any other questions? Audra, how are we supposed to proceed on this?
Actually, it was just, he came to present and just give you some information on what we're looking at doing, and when things get firmed up a little bit more of where it might be and the, what park is picked and that kind of thing, he can come back and then get a recommendation at that time if you approve of the park and the size and all of that going forward.
Okay.
But just looking for a general consensus that you're supportive of the idea or you're not, or of him pursuing it further.
I think it's a great idea. I think there will be some costs. I mean, I think grass or dirt would not be a good surface. It's going to just, wood chips would probably be a better solution. But
Do you want us to make a motion to continue the process?
Chair, members of the commission, no formal motion is required at this time.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it is too, so. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Justin.
Great idea there.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item for new business is the Wakefield Park playground replacement.
Okay, turning it over to me, Chair, members of the commission. Just a little review. As part of the Park System's master plan implementation, staff is proposing to replace the playground at Wakefield Park. This replacement will be funded through the Park Improvement Fund with a not-to-exceed budget amount of $250,000, and staff is recommending using Northland Recreation Little Tykes for this project and purchasing directly off the state contract. And a little other, more background on that, we've been doing the Wakefield Park improvements for quite a while now. It's been a process, and there have been different phases, and now we're at the part where the playground's reached its end of life. It's at the end of its life cycle, and it needs to be replaced, and so we're looking to replace the playground now as part of this project to just pull everything together. We've got the new park pavilions, we have the building, we have the new hockey rink, but the playground we still have pea gravel there, the equipment is outdated, the paths between the different play areas are worn out, and the playground's not as accessible, nearly as accessible as it should be, so we are looking to replace that yet this summer. And just a little background, because of the way the meetings fall, we did take this to council on Monday, and the city council approved going forward with the project, and then the next thing would be coming to you for recommendations, and then there will actually be a neighborhood meeting on Wednesday, May 22nd already at the Wakefield Park building. We've kind of been behind the scenes thinking if this goes forward, what kind of things we could do, talking with Northland Recreation, which represents Little Tykes, and just looking at things that they could do in that space. And so they're pulling something together this last week and the next week, and they'll be at the meeting to talk about the concepts and put out there what they think would be a great fit in the park. And then we want to get the residents' feedback and the commission as well. And just a side note with Little Tykes, they have partnered with another group to really get into the accessible play arena, and I'm going to just pull up a PDF that I have of that. 1 second. I just want you to be able to see, they have partnered with a group called Unlimited Play that specializes in accessible playground equipment, not just for mobility, but sensory and the whole gamut, to try to make playgrounds universally designed. And while this playground won't be 100% universally designed like the Goodrich playground, because that was the park playground for that signature park, we're trying to get as close as we can and still balance it with play value and what is happening in the Wakefield Park. And so just want to show you a little bit about what Unlimited Play does. And they have their 7 principles for inclusive playgrounds, and they've done everything from themed playgrounds around the metro. Just wanted to show you, they even have standalone items that are good for sensory and inclusive play. So we're excited that they have partnered with them, because that will make all the difference. That's kind of a new thing for Little Tykes, but it's really expanded what they can do. And they're the ones who have done the playgrounds for us. They're usually the company that the neighborhoods end up picking. So they did the playground at Nebraska, at Maple Crest this last year. Then they did several other playgrounds. Whenever there's been a community playground where they can choose the concept over from all the different companies, they've been picking Little Tykes. So it's what people tend to like. It's good, really good quality. They've been in the business for 30 years, and so we're really excited to partner with them to come up with a great design for the Wakefield Playground. So any questions from the commission?
Any questions?
So we're going to bring in a couple of companies to show the neighborhood, or are we choosing Little Tykes and
No,
letting them?
we actually chose to go with Little Tykes. They're on the state purchasing contract, so you can pick a playground provider without having to do the go out for bid. You can pick one that you think will really best fit the project and the needs. And so when we were vetting groups that we've worked with before, Little Tykes, especially now that they've partnered with Unlimited Play, is who we felt the staff was the right company to go with, especially because they've been doing so many playgrounds with us. But they will have the concept there. It's not a done deal. They'll be pulling together concepts of what they think could work for the price that we have, and then the public will get to give feedback. You'll be able to give feedback then at that meeting, and then if everyone is, feeling good about it, we're going to go forward with that, because we're hoping to take the old playground out in July and then start installing this, so it would be done yet this summer.
What kind of parameters are you giving the designers to work with? I mean, what are you telling them we're looking at for?
Just looking to make sure that it is all ages if possible, from 0 to 12 is typical, but trying to give it as much play value as possible, as accessible as possible, and kind of coming to that happy medium, because like poured in place, while we'd love to have it over the entire playground, that would eat up the full $250,000, honestly, if we did that whole, because the playground container is quite large at Wakefield. Right now, it's 3 separate areas and there's paths to go through, so, but mixing in the poured in place where it makes sense, so when it leads to, say we have the accessible like zip line swing, and we have accessible swings on the swing bay, and then we have the platforms where you can get on with a wheelchair, and that's what Little Tykes really is good at, is having the towers and the ramps that all connect, that you can, once you get on the play area, it takes you through the whole thing, but having the poured in place reach to those areas. So there's no way there'll be engineered wood fiber, which you could go over, but it's not ideal. So just trying to strategically place the poured in place, and then having features that are accessible. And one thing that Little Tykes has that's interesting, I'm pretty sure you'll see it at the meeting, is they have a spinning toy, kind of like a version of a merry-go-round. They have the one we just put in at Maple Crest that has the order seats, but it's off the ground. They have one that is completely flush with the ground, so you can literally just wheel or walk right on it. There's no stepping up, and it spins around, and it's very cool. And they've got some other cool sensory panels and things like that, in addition to the towers and the stuff that they're known for, with the big play value, because kids love to run from section to section, and then like I said, zip lines and all those kinds of things. Just how much creativity they can put into it, as much play value for the money, but as much accessibility. So we've asked a lot of them to come up with in their design and to find that happy medium of a park that's accessible, but it has a lot of play value. And they're putting their heads together, and they're going to come up with idea and present it at the playground meeting.
Yes.
I seen, there was the meeting on May 22nd. Is that going to let the neighbors pick what type, like if they want merry-go-rounds, if they want certain age, what will that let them actually pick?
We're going to have them come with concepts, because we've done different community process over the years, and have found that, well, if you just come with an open-ended, what do you think you might like? It's fun, but it isn't always realistic for what the budget is and what the area, and just moving. So we're going to come with the best realistic proposals with features that would make sense, but then definitely getting feedback if the community goes, oh, we don't like that. Why are you doing this? Still taking feedback, so it's not done, but it's going to be concept is going to be pulled together by the experts at the playground company to show people. Because sometimes we've had wish lists of things that, and while they're great, they're not anything that we could do or could afford, and then you end up having to have another meeting later on, and so it's just trying to make the meeting as meaningful as possible without just going through a meeting and then having to come back, kind of thing. So a more directed, focused playground meeting.
Nikki, you got a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Is the meeting at Wakefield?
It is. The meeting is, and you will all get a formal invite. Like I said, we had to wait till Monday's council meeting to see if we could proceed, but it is at the Wakefield Park Community Building. If it is nice outside, we will hopefully have it on the patio, but if not, we'll be in the building, and it's from 6 to 7:30 on Wednesday, May 22nd.
Are there going to be more than one plan presented, and you kind of pick and choose what you like,
Yeah, we're going to have concept designs there, but it's not going to be like 3 or 4
different playgrounds and then whittling down. I mean, it's going to be focused on what we really can do, but with some with, if you want these panels or this feature, but it's,
The overall concept for the playground is going to be their best attempt at merging all the things that we're looking for and putting it into one playground concept.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I think we can proceed. There is no further action.
There is a recommendation.
Motion to
Oh. Okay.
I move
Make a
to,
motion.
move to approve the Wakefield Playground replacement as presented.
I'll
I'll
second that. Sorry.
You can second it.
Okay, I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None, so been approved. Thank you. No unfinished business. No visitor presentations. Are there any commission presentations? Craig?
I received an email requesting that we look into a sand volleyball court at Sunset Ridge. And I said that I'd bring it up and we'd maybe have a little discussion about that.
Go ahead.
Any thoughts or?
I also got that email too, and I forwarded it on to Audra.
So I know that we do have, or I believe we have a sand volleyball court at, is it Harvest? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at Harvest, right?
I'd have to make sure that one,
I'm not sure
I
it's
don't
still
believe it's at
there.
Harvest.
It was there, it was kind of between the parking lot and the
Yeah,
the
I'm not sure
playground,
that
and
it-
I'm not sure if it's still there or not.
I don't think last time I walked by that
So if it's not, the question is, why not? And
Sure.
if it is, I mean, that would be something
Yeah.
we could pass along, so I guess.
Sure, Chair, members of the commission. Sand volleyball courts, they definitely have their place in outdoor recreation, but they are best served if they're in a park that has like a complex of sand volleyball courts that has regular games scheduled and used regular, because just the maintenance on them, especially, we've had some in different parks here or there, but if they aren't used a lot, they tend, I don't know how to put this delicately, but they end up becoming cat boxes and things like that, and then they don't, so they're not, and then they end up having the weeds growing. And so the sand volleyball courts, as a city, we've gotten away from putting those out, especially with people having portable volleyball kits and things, being able to just get really nice sets that they can just put up and put on our open green space. That's kind of been what we've done. But I did speak to Reagan actually, or we emailed back and forth, and I had asked her to give me a call, and I think she sent an email right before I came down tonight, so I didn't get a chance to read it. But she even asked about potentially having a net, and we would maybe look at installing some kind of, poles and having some kind of net put up where we could string that, but we would use the green open space instead of putting the sand in, is what we would probably lean toward as staff, but we would definitely talk with her about it. But just the raking, upkeep, and like I said, if it's not used as much, it tends to get kind of gross and hard to maintain.
Any further discussion on that?
I just am really happy to see the younger people getting so involved in the last few meetings here.
Yeah, it was great, as I believe she's 15 and
Yeah.
was just
She
looking for a way to
emailed
use
me
that
and-
space that isn't being used, so that was great.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Maybe she'd be interested in Gaga Ball.
Anything else we want to do about that this evening, or just make any sort of recommendation, or?
I think Audra's looking into it, and maybe
Yes,
just get
yeah.
back to us, Audra, and let us
Yeah.
know what you find out.
Yeah.
Yep, like I said, I reached out to Reagan, and I'll just find out a little bit more for sure, and like I said, I think her her one email was even just a net, but I think we'll just kind of talk about what she's really thinking about and go from there. We just haven't completely connected yet.
Good. Okay, thank you. Any other commission presentations? Seeing none, we can move on to staff presentations. And the first item is department update.
Oh, thanks, Chair, members of the commission. Just a brief update to let you know, we've had some changes in the Parks and Recreation Department, and with the departure of our former director, Dwayne Knico, and just kind of wondering what direction we would go. The Parks and Recreation Department is actually moving under the Public Works umbrella, so we're going to be housed in Public Works, and actually that will be a great fit because that's where park maintenance currently is, so there'll be some good synergies there where park maintenance and the Parks and Recreation Department are now working under the same umbrella, so just wanted to officially announce that. And my title is still Parks and Recreation Manager. I'll still be head of our department and running things, but will be, like I said, under the Public Works umbrella and reporting directly to Public Works Director Steve Love. So I just wanted to.
Is Dewey gone then now, or?
Yes, he is. He has left the city back in October. Yep. So I just wanted to formally update now that we have moved those along.
Any other questions on that item? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 2, then the tennis courts.
Okay, thank you, Chair, members of the commission. Tennis courts. We love them, but maintenance and the state of some of our tennis courts. And so this is the year of really getting a handle on tennis courts, tennis court maintenance, what we can do, what courts to maintain, what courts to take out, and that kind of thing. And it's been a lot of discussion even since last year. And you all know I spoke to you about the Maple Crest tennis courts. And last year, it was August 21st, I think it was, we had a meeting with the residents to talk about the tennis courts there because they were no longer usable. We did that study of the soils. We had brought Intertech come out and do that, and just what the state of them were in at the time. We had recommended taking them out. Former Director Dwayne Knico and myself had a meeting in August of last year and met out at the park with with anyone from the neighborhood. We sent a letter out and had a meeting, and during that discussion, he had agreed to we had made the decision to take them out because we felt it was right, but he made the decision at that meeting to try one more time to have a professional come out and really see if they could resurface the courts, maybe put a Band-Aid on and extend the life, maybe 5-10 years, which we did. And their recommendation was absolutely not. If you did anything to just try to resurface or whatever, you would it wouldn't even last the year. There were so many problems with the courts. So the recommendation was a complete tear-out rebuild. And that, on top of having to do with the soil remediation at that park that would be involved, we went with the original decision that in the best interest of all the residents and the park was to take those tennis courts out. And then we had a survey at that time of what people might want to see in the park, and as opposed to and this park, just a reminder, it's a very small mini neighborhood park. It's under 2 acres, and it has the brand new playground that we put in last year, and with the pleasure rink and the courts, and takes up a lot of the space in this park. It's a very small park. There's not really parking, so it's like what would fit for the neighbors in this park. So the survey went out. They could mail it in. They could email it back. They could do it online on SurveyMonkey, and it was sent out Friday, and they got it Saturday because I started getting responses Saturday already, and they've been coming in every day, and for the most part, people seem to understand the decision. And when we ask what they're looking at, interestingly enough, the top 2 choices so far, I think I have about 30 of the surveys back, and they would like some kind of small shade or shelter that's over by the playground, and they would like open space where the tennis courts is to put turf in an open space so they could play pickup soccer, volleyball, just to be able to use for many different sports, not to have something formal like a bocce ball court or a volleyball court. We even put on the survey if they were interested in outdoor fitness equipment because someone at the meeting had mentioned that. But the overwhelming 2 choices right now are a shelter and open space, but we'll see because it was sent out we did the immediate neighborhood and then some, so over 300 homes received the mailing in the survey. So we'll see as they come in. But those courts will be taken out sometime this year. They'll begin that process. So that is Maple Crest, and I think I've mentioned at this meeting previously that Playcrest was already slated to be taken out, and they've been sitting there, and I don't know why they weren't taken out. They were meant to be taken out probably 4 years ago, but they are going to be moving ahead and taking the Playcrest tennis courts out. So that's the sad part for tennis courts, but the good news is Harvest and Maplewood Heights, we just had those resurfaced and repainted, so that just got done last week. So they're our newest courts that were redone, but they were already showing cracks and wear, and so trying to get ahead of it before they get to the point of no return. So we put some money in to do that, and even that was around $5,000 just to give them an update and fix a little bit of the cracking. Those were done 4 years, pretty recently, so it's just a lot of maintenance on tennis courts. And the main tennis court that's being replaced this summer, we just determined based on what the state of disrepair and the service area is Sherwood tennis court. So right now I'm in the process of getting quotes for the work, because those would be, Sherwood is a complete tear out rebuild. So we would have to take it out, do all new asphalt, fix it, and then have them come in and resurface it. So Sherwood will be done this summer. And then we had hoped to have enough in that budget, instead of replacing a playground, we're doing the tennis work. And we thought we could get 2 courts, but because the cost is what it is, we'll only be able to do 1. So we actually put an item in the CIP for next year specifically for Vista Hills tennis court. Because there are 2 down there, Pleasant View and Vista both have them, but Vista was the one that needed the most work, and it's in the south end of Maplewood service area. So Vista Hills is in the CIP to be redone next year. So, and then we're assessing the tennis courts and coming up with an asset management plan to really get a handle on our tennis courts. And that is where things are at as of today. So are there any questions about the tennis courts?
Any questions?
So you mentioned that you're working on an asset plan. I assume that's going to look at the whole system and say, okay, these courts are pretty maintainable, and look at, geographically spread them out and try to maintain a few and keep them in good shape. Is that the
Yep.
idea? Okay.
Commissioner Brennan, that's absolutely correct. And we've been doing that unofficially, but we'll be using our Cartograph software and really coming up with a rating system so that we have a clear way to show how we came to that conclusion and why we rated them the way we did, and, and go from there. And that's why we did pick Vista Hills and then Sherwood, because Sherwood is, that park, there's a little playground, there's some fields, but there isn't a whole lot else in that park, and those courts were heavily used, so we made that a priority to get that one fixed, because I don't know if any of you have been there lately, but the cracks are deep, they run through both courts, you can't play a game of tennis on them effectively, so, and then just a heads up, we'll let the public know, but once we get to the point where they do the asphalt, it has to cure for like 30 days, so they'll be closed for a month, so they'll probably be usable maybe end of August when we're done with the work, but like I said, we're just getting the quotes now. We'd have to go back to council to move ahead, but that is the plan, so.
Since we're using Sherwood Park, I wonder if there's going to be extra room, since we're only putting 1, if the Gaga court could go there.
I'm sorry, for which park?
Sherwood, since you're saying we're only going to put 1 court in instead of 2.
Oh, with Sherwood, we're completely redoing the tennis
We're-
courts
the
there,
whole thing.
sorry,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a possibility.
I had
Yeah,
a
Nikki.
question. Have you looked at all when you get it assessed to see if you could do like a multi-use type of court, like bocce ball / tennis?
Chair, members of the commission, I don't know that those 2 would be compatible. Pickleball and tennis usually
Or
go together.
pickleball, that's what
Sure.
I actually
No, that's
meant.
okay.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Bocce ball, yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, and the problem, Nikki, is in a lot of the parks, these courts were put in a long, long time ago, and I don't know if there was a whole lot of rhyme or reason as to where they put a tennis court. I mean, even at Sherwood, when I was out with actually one of the companies today, the asphalt company, just to get an idea of what they could do. And he just said with the grading and the levels, he said, I don't think this was ever, it's not draining properly. So there's just so much that goes in, and these courts are, it's a huge amount of concrete and surface. And so we're just trying to be strategic about it. And while there are very passionate tennis players and we believe in tennis, we offer tennis lessons with the city, the park usage has changed, and there isn't as much need if there was before for this many tennis courts. So we're trying to be strategic about where we put them, but any courts we do will have the pickleball lines and, you know, and when we resurface them so that you can do both.
Any other questions on tennis courts? Okay, I think we can move on then. Wakefield Park improvements.
Okay. Well, we already talked about the exciting news with the playground, but I just wanted to give you an update on the project because we are now finishing up the outside work. We're getting into the home stretch of the project, and they're doing the final grading. They poured all the concrete they fixed in the front of the building. We did have some panels crack during the winter, so they've replaced those now. So in the front of the building, those are all brand new. They're laying down the concrete for the bike racks, the barbecue grill pads, bench pads, for the big trash receptacle containers, the big dumpsters, and they're doing the landscaping. So if you go by there in the next couple of days, you'll see they're planting away. They're putting all the plantings in and making it look pretty. So that is all happening. It's exciting. They'll be installing the drinking fountain soon. So a lot of stuff is coming together. It's going to be happening pretty quickly. And we just had 52 boxes, 11 skids worth of patio furniture and benches and grills delivered today. So we'll be putting the outside patio furniture on. So it'll be pretty exciting, all the fun stuff that's coming. But we've had the election Tuesday. The school referendum election was at the Wakefield building. We had the League of Women Voters dinner was there. We had our council retreat there. There's a meeting there tonight about the rental authority group. And we also, what other meeting did we have? Oh, and there's going to be a Special Olympics meeting. So we've already used the building for a lot of community meetings and city meetings. And we just opened up rentals to start June 13th. And we're getting calls probably every day for someone who wants to rent the building. So it's pretty exciting. Any questions about that?
Questions? Well, I have one question, I guess. What happened with the tree that is down there?
The tree is still good. It's doing well. And actually and I don't know if I mentioned that. Did I mention that Ginny Gaynor has retired? Did I mention at the last meeting? Oh, well, I should have mentioned that. No, Ginny retired on May 2nd. So we're sad to see our natural resources coordinator go, but we wish her well in her new adventures. And so that job is posted, and we're hoping we'll get someone with half the skills that Ginny had. But they did do an EAB inspection right before she left. They went and did an inventory of trees, and right now we're good at Wakefield, and we have to get to coming back and seeing if we can amend that ordinance. But right now that tree is not in any danger, and it's still very treatable. So
That's good.
yeah.
Anything else? Okay, I guess we can move on. Adopt a Park program.
Okay. And for Adopt a Park, I just wanted to give a shout out that we have this program. We are always looking for people that are willing to adopt some more of our parks, and we actually had a scout troop adopt Wakefield recently, and I'm going to pull up a picture in a letter that they sent. See it? Might be a little hard to see on the screen, but I just thought it was such a nice picture they sent. I wanted to have it for you guys. But Scout Troop 461 just recently adopted Wakefield Park, and they sent me a letter with an update about their progress. And this was the letter from Ann, their leader. Just wanted to inform that per our Adopt a Park agreement, Scout Troop 461 was at Wakefield Monday evening, 5/6/2019, to pick up litter. We were able to pick up around the construction area, the play equipment, and the pavilion. We were unable to do the large open field closest to Frost as a group was there playing ball. It would have been the volleyball groups. We plan to go back there later this month to do an area around the lake and pond and to pick up any large sticks or branches on the ground. We were able to collect a lawn-sized garbage bag worth of trash and dispose of it off-site, and the night ended in a little frisbee, so we all had fun. And that's a picture of the Scout Troop. And I could be wrong, but I think that might be, I don't know if any of you know Pete Boulay, but I think that might be Pete's son in the photo. but I'm not sure. So it's just great, like you said, with Reagan emailing to ask about the park, and we have our student commissioners, and then to have a group of scouts adopt the park. It's just great to have the young people involved, and we're so grateful for all the wonderful people, young and old, that donate their time to help beautify Maplewood parks. And I just wanted to do a shout out that we have 36 parks and 15 open spaces in Maplewood. So while a lot of them are adopted, we still have 22 parks that need to be adopted. So if anyone is interested, we've got information on our website, or you can call the Parks and Recreation Office directly at 651-249-2120, and we could get you connected with a park to adopt. So just wanted to share that.
Good. Any discussion about Adopt a Park? No? Good job, people. All right. Let's go on to the programming updates.
Okay, thanks, Chair, members of the commission. And I'm just going to run through some flyers quick, because I think a picture sometimes says it better than I could myself, just of some things that are coming up. And the Nature Center, they've got a ton of events, but 3 that I picked are really unique, I think. They've got, first they have, summer nature walks, and they actually have a couple of these planned. And the one that's coming up next is, it's a summer nature walk, but it's actually translated into different languages. And the one coming up June 7th is actually translated into Hmong and English, and they'll have interpreters there on the site for the walk, so you'll get to come out and do a nature walk. And I just thought this was a really neat thing that they're doing. They just thought it was a way to reach out and be more inclusive in some of the programming that they do. That's Friday, June 7th, 9 in the morning till 10:30. And a little out of order, but Thursday, June 6th, they have one in the evening. It's native plants for pollinators. So if you ever wanted to learn how to start gardening with native plants to provide bee and butterfly habitat for our pollinators, this is the program to go. You can tour the gardens at the Nature Center and learn to ID plants and get some ideas. So it's there is a cost, but they give you a starter set of 4 different native plants. So you get 12 plants, and you get professional advice, and it's just, I think it's a really neat idea. So if you're interested in that, you can call the Nature Center directly, 651-249-2170, or you can go online to the website, and they'll have all these programs there as well. And this one is something a little bit different. It's for children ages 8 to 12, which is a group sometimes that gets missed with our programming. It's Thursday, June 13th from 1 to 4. So it'll be when school's out. And it's survival of the fittest. So it's learning survival skills. When you learn to ID plants, you learn to build shelters, campfires. They're going to have s'mores, and they're going to take you out and kind of do a little mini out in nature survival class. So, and parents need to sign a waiver, but you drop off, the parents don't stay. The naturalists will just lead them on this program. So I think that's a really cool idea. Spend an afternoon at the Nature Center learning survival. And then shifting gears to the Bruntrup Farm, we have our Music in the Barn. The concert is coming up in a couple of weeks. It's on Friday, June 7th at the Bruntrup Farm, and it will be a concert. The Doghouse Bar and Grill will be there, serving cocktails and pop and things like that. The Maplewood Historical Society will be doing the food and the concessions, so hopefully it's a beautiful night. You can come out at 5:30, have a picnic before the concert, and the music starts at 7 o'clock. And if you're interested in tickets, They're $7 right now, $15 if you wait till the day of the show. So if you're interested, it's a really fun time out on the farm.
Where do you get the tickets at, Audra?
Oh, you can actually call the Parks and Recreation office. There's a link online too. You can register online. Otherwise, you can call the office number 651-249-2120. Otherwise, any of our online, signing up for programs, the online registration on the website will take you right there. Sorry. I could show you more, but I'll end with this one. We've just got so many programs, but our first big special event is coming up June 12th, and it is one of the Celebrate Summer events, which used to be called WOW events, but since they're not at Wakefield right now because of the construction in the last few years, we called them Celebrate Summer. And this one is the Maplewood Summer Challenge, and it will be out at Afton Heights Park. And there are going to be a ton of inflatables. There's several different inflatable obstacle courses. There's what do they call, like the fast pitch throw. They're going to have the giant cornhole bags, boards, like huge ones, and all kinds of fun, like anything where you can challenge yourself for fun, and it will be there. And the Nature Center will be there, 3M Wizards. We'll have our activity booths like we usually do. Police and fire will be there to happily race you on the obstacle course if you're interested in challenging an officer or a firefighter or EMS, or just your brother or sister or your mom and dad. So that event is coming up quickly. And then, of course, you guys know the Touch a Truck, and we can talk about it at the June meeting, but that's the one where we won't have our July meeting because we'll be manning a booth at the Touch a Truck event at the community center. So it's kind of fun. Summer's coming, and we're getting into the full swing of all the fun events. So any questions?
Any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Anything else we need to discuss tonight? I have one question.
Sure.
Being that there's only going to be one more meeting before August, is there any talk about any tour of the parks? Because it'll be getting into August. I know we've sort of talked about maybe having it a little earlier this year.
Sure, Chair, members of the commission, we can talk about it now, or we can make it an item for the next meeting. But if we wanted to do it early, you can take a vote on that, and whatever the commission thinks would work. It's a little tough with the Wednesdays, just because of, as long as it's the Wednesday, if we did it on a Wednesday, that was a regular meeting day, that's okay, but we do the other events in the summer on Wednesdays. But if you're looking for a different day, we just have to make sure that but I could look for some potential dates that might work, or if you want to talk about, if you want it on a Wednesday, if you're thinking a different day of the week.
Can we put it on the June agenda then and
Sure.
discuss it then?
Absolutely.
Probably the way to go.
Yeah.
So that's okay with everyone?
Do we have anything special in August? We have an actual meeting August, right?
At this point, yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Anything else? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And no one's opposed, so the meeting is over. Thank you.